Ngokuzalwa kahle kahle, I was born eSwaziland endaweni ebizwa eMagubheleni. I was born of teenage children. My mother and father were teenagers. I think my mother was probably 15, my father 16 or 17, but they were not even at 18 at the time, I think. But I was born on a Sunday, on a rainy day, I'm told. I left Swaziland on a Monday, shortly after Ngadukuzalwa, because umamkhulu kamamami had been sent to Swaziland ukuthi ayolanda umamam, because according to the relative that my mother was staying with, she had left her place because of Ustot. But when you get the story, not only from my mother, but also from the relatives, including that person's children, my mother was severely abused by a relative. That ugogo, her mother, had asked her to stay with her. I don't know, for whatever reason. Never. But mostly I think ugogo had looked at the opportunities for school. Remember, Swaziland was still very much on royal education, and people felt that Swazi education is more prestigious than what was coming to South Africa. So umkhulu wami at the time, they had no problem. You know, it was quite embarrassing at the time that a teenage daughter can have a child, out of wedlock and all those things. So, yeah, so he was okay with it. So I grew up as ngazi gogo nomkhulu as ubaba noma, which is something that is normal in a lot of families that I saw it. It's a common thing, so it's not unique to me. So that's what happened. My mom, in fact, she is even today very skeptical of me having my children with maybe umntana ohlala somewhere, in such a manner that she's even skeptical of my wife, because my wife does not have my own child. So it had a very long-lasting effect on her. And unfortunately, the thing, it's one of those things that's difficult, that has impacted very negatively in my adult life. So in short, that was that. I left Swaziland a day after I was born. In any black family, umntwana angazange anemiwe. Oh, I was already named Mavela Swazini, which my mother was trying to dispute. There's no black family that would have umntwana born and not name the child. Can never happen. Because she feels the person who is the person that named me. But that person got me, I was already born. And to prove that I was already named, when I started looking for my family, when I got to my father's place, my grandmother on my father's side, just walk in. She turned around and said, "Yo, Long Mavela." The day I was born, and I think I was about 36. No, I was 33, somewhere there. Yeah, 32, 33, somewhere there. I come from that place again, but I've had no real connection with my paternal family, because even when I went to look for them, it was unfortunate that I've not been able to know my father, because by the time I got to them the first time, I was preparing to go to try and see him. The man was not even far from me. Soweto, the man was here in Carltonville, working in the mines. Unbelievable. I'm in Carltonville from Soweto. I mean, you don't even take an hour. So unfortunately, I think the effect or the problems, which I feel would be really honestly speaking, actually problem is serious. That they couldn't do much because they were teenagers. And somehow it affected my mother. See, because also it was a mission. She wouldn't tell me where I come from, what happened. And she still was trying to hold on to the belief you could look down at us with the and abomakhelwane bayakhuluma. Bekabana banelimi njengabomakhelwane. Abomakhelwane bayakhuluma, they'll talk indaba zakho. Either emntwaneni wakho or whoever. I don't know, for whatever reason. Because they'll be like, hey, this, that. Not in praise of saying, hey, man, you look like your father or you look like your granny or whoever. There'll be abomakhelwane that would, at a very age, you'll find abomakhelwane, I think my mother's peers and maybe friends, I don't know. But they'll be like, ubu mamako. Blog mamu kone kai. I mean, it's normal. Kukwa mama. No, I loyo. Usiswa kumate. You see, even if you're a child, you make that connection. Why are they? And that time, I mean, I did not even care about the existence of my mother. And I like Lava Papela. And that's it. But as you grow up, you then are able to put one and one together to know and understand. Oh, okay. Because my granny did not really want the thing of Guti. I should know Guti. Mama Muban. I think my granny was worried to Guti and all. And to think I'm so grateful that they'd taken me away from Swaziland. It's something that I think I'll forever love my granny for. Yes, I may have lost out in understanding isn't this thing, but also it was a blessing. She gave me life, in such a manner that I have brothers that come after me. They passed on, Masasabangan. They don't even have children that I can go take care of. They don't even have.
So manje mangabe usuke eSwazini uza kuphi ngapha
eMzimhlophe. So my birth certificate says I was born eMzimhlophe 10/4/12 Hadebe Street. Every other thing, including Nogut, I was born in Shinti, I think. Shinti Clinic. And I wasn't born there. These are stories that come after. And when I first went home, a.k.a, I was struggling, man. Life was just not working out okay. And somehow, Mamnanwam, which you spent a lot of time at Kulis, I think then she asked around. Then Batolomunyu Baba Mabuza was staying opposite them. What go to Agabal, to Mabuza? Not Leon, not Bachel, they Bashupa, but none of Mabuza. Don't even take a chance, Bashupa. Yeah, because of at the time, maybe when I was troublesome. Ulwana money at Dubul. Mapoisa. You see, Nyaboshwa, chaotic teenage years, all of that. Dale Luba involved him, they were like, hey, So that's how then I got to know this. Their understanding was religious or or something. But I think they helped. It was about time that one needed to know. Because also it was around the period of change. And I think also there was the fear. This was after the violence. Yeah, ANC and AFP. That's when I started getting this thing we again. And that time but I traveled, normal passport to Swaziland and back. No, use my real name. My Swazini came back. So it has been very exciting. It's just that because of I had started about politics around 1983, so one would dabble in politics, being intwana sekasi, uthanda Jewish, and I had a cousin that was more of a brother. And waqala ubustowed vele early, so siyahambe emathaveni, not emathaveni, ey'potini. He buys beer, we drink. I think he beer one at the time, being dawa murdu, but I wouldn't know. But it was just something of that nature, growing up Soweto, kunama gangsters, kuna yonke chaos akhona, but also as a young lighty, because our ability to be able to share intombazana ongayazi ikuthande and iqome for real, even if not from school, because esikolweni angathi enjoy lena, leyo hlangana nayo nje strategy all noshela real. You develop a confidence as a young man ukuthi any situation you can handle, and this was one of also of the criteria that when I was in exile that look for your ability to engage with people, and the more ukwazi ukujola, and then they knew ukuthi lo uzosurvive. Ayakhona ukusocialize abantu njalo. So it was very easy to die. This one would be able to survive at home. So abantu abakwatile uzokhuluma nobani, because wafika la ekhaya we had no real or internal push that we could operate from. We were operating in urban areas. You needed to be hidden by people in their houses. If banomkhukhu kubo, in them kuku, and them kuku bengakopaya to 4 rooms, bakulalise dining room sometimes. Abantwana abalayikha abazi ukuthi umalume uyadlula or relative ubuye eNatali. You struggle divided families, very much so. Mankhula emzimhlophe. What I'm telling you, it's something that happened with me being on the underground around 1986-87, because Umbushwe 1987, September, if I'm not mistaken, or August. But be as it may, just to explain the context, because the difficulty would be abomakhelwane kuliwa ne-IFP. Members of the IFP are taking residents from where? From hostels. Now Mavela ekhaya kusho ukuthi lezi sebazifake phakathi kwethu, and people who die even for ukukhuluma isiZulu. Ukuthi ukhuluma isiZulu, you're pure Zulu, then suddenly IFP. That's how it used to be, and it was quite bad. It was very bad. Esikolweni bengifuna Orlando High when I started politics, but not necessarily that's where I started politics. Ekhaya emzimhlophe 1, 2, 3 houses I think away from it. There used to be abantu supposedly, let me not confirm, supposedly, because the only other person obekaza lapha who was BCM was umuntu beza. So umama walapha ongikhulisayo bekathandazela, you know, abantu baqala bebathandazela abantu. So bekathandazela abantu and all. So kunalo baba ekuthiwa uMaqhina ubuya ePort Elizabeth. It is so unfortunate, my understanding yalo baba, it is totally different from the understanding yabantu base-PE. Because ngasebenza, so I went to PE several times. And abantu engikhuluma nabo ukuthi hey man ngifuna ukuya kuba uMaqhina, they'll be shocked. Like, you know, ngathi uba uMaqhina went on to work with the police. I don't know how. I'm not too sure about his story. Worked with the police, they fought against the residents, a PE or something like that, I don't know. But whenever they were this side, they'll then discuss politics, if Soweto. It would be politics of black consciousness. About Maqhina. It's the Reverend Maqhina. He will come with a lot of people, they're active, you know, I get involved with acting and all of that because I was such a young child. I enjoy act. So kube inenjalo. So uba Maqhina would discuss nabafana balingana nami and would discuss black consciousness. And when I was at Orlando High, I think 1983, kwaqalwa i-ASASIM, which is a student body that was aligned to ASAP. So it did not last long, my association with ASASIM, because all of my friends, because of the schools there was COSAS. So then we started discussing. I from a PCM point of view, them from a COSAS. And I was closer to Indoye PCM because of Maqhina. And earlier on in my life, since I say Indo, I don't understand what politics is. Kuna Grootman yaseKaslam, udiliza machoba. Grootman begu Indwana at the time, but Grootman. There's nothing you can say or do. Grootman. He used to sit with us. Come Sunday, mawuthi uyadlula kubo kusekhoneni. Mawuthi uyadlula nazi ezinye intwana esiblomile sokubiza. Woza now uyangena. So uyamamela la ikhuluma nge-black consciousness yabona. At that time you're not even conscious ukuthi lo muntu uyakonscientize. I only realized late ukuthi being conscientized in BCM, that's what helped me to also understand amapolitiki and what would drive you as umuntu, and not be dogmatic into it as it has become manje ukuthi like abantu beyazapo want to hold on to a philosophy that is supposed to be helping in South Africa so that people can grow, because it's more of a theory. The dynamics of the day, you know, when in the 80s, early 80s, or in the 80s generally, before kukala, you know, the fights, the charterists, because this thing a charterist that the ikala bosas or bosazim. So I don't even have the history correct of that. But as I say, my friends army, afuna kule ikolo where COSAS was dominating. I met Orlando High, kune-ASASIM. You know, we sit, we talk, you attend the meetings, you get to be changed. I think I was part of ASASIM if 9 months or a year. If it's a year, it's too long. But in between that. So I was able then to be recruited into COSAS. I ended up in fact being the only one, a member of COSAS at Orlando High. After until Bongani, then it was the two of us. Mangala manje, but besama member COSAS. Munta bega funde Orlando High. They went inept until banning a Kosas in 1985. So I don't know. But manje yes, people are claiming good beba member Kosas, but I don't know. Like they were members the Kosas at least so wouldn't know. But be as it may, that's how I got to Kosas. I would go to rallies, the UDF, all of that. Because also, remember with our political consciousness started coming back after the formation of United Democratic Front, which was also, COSAS was driving, let these progressive organizations align themselves with Freedom Charter. Which COSAS had adopted right at the beginning of the formation of COSAS in 1979. The UDF was formed by different organizations as a front, as a united front against the system of apartheid, but also taking into consideration the Freedom Charter as a blueprint for attainment and liberation. Remember, the political parties were banned at that time. So UDF at the time, it sort of revived the spirit of resistance, because now we're able to find a common home, to sort of sikupuli struggle at the time. Remember that the nature of government of South Africa was racial. So even with the political organizations, especially after the banning of the major organizations, ANC, PAC, all of those organizations of that time, there was a lull, Amapuna manda abashaya with that, abashaya. And I'll tell you why. Because I think as I get into the history, yakithi, umkhulu wami had his ID banned, yashiswa, or wayishisa or what, I don't know. Ekhaya yakithi, you'll never speak politics. My training was, that was taboo. So you see, the system had hit them into submission. You accept what is happening in such a manner that I changed my surname to Mabuza, which was correct. Umkhulu wami, when he died, ufeke isibongo saka Dlamini. He's not related to Dlamini, nothing. Owakashabalala. Ugogo wami, ufeke isibongo saka Dlamini. Umamam today igama lakhe elisele ku ID Thogo Muriel Dlamini. She's not related to ebantwini baka Dlamini. Umkhulu isibongo saka Dlamini kusho ukuthi from wherever umkhulu came from, because even his history bengadiscusswa. Ngathi he was also involved in these banning of passes, because ngathi bekasebenza emadoksini or somewhere in the Durban area makuyoshiswa amapasi. But then he had to move from there to come to Johannesburg. And when he came to Johannesburg, I got a 101A, which was a standard requirement for one to be within the Johannesburg area at the time. So a pass lakho valbele 101A. Valna 101A before 24 hours phela, they don't need to even know ukuthi ubuyaphi. If ukhuluma isiZulu, they post you kwaZulu Natal. If they hear mhlawumbe ukuthi ngathi ukhuluma isiSwatinyana or something, these Bantu stands then served as some form of reserve for ukuthi nangumuntu wenu. We can dig that. So my figure like Joe's, I think, this is now mine. That's my thinking. This Dlamini was going back to Emakaya or wherever. So because lo akanapass, kwathiwa no nali thatha ipass. Then I will tell you the story because it's very recent. Then yena wabeka sithombe sakhe phezu kwale pass. So unepass. I don't think I correspond. I correspond because ngakumike sethuleni lakhe namanje. Where date of birth is at asifakanga because asibazi usalwe nini. We know ukuthi ushone nini. So you see the reach of apartheid. This thing happened even long before I was born, but it affected me. Because mina nanamhlanje mawungathi kumuntu ebe ngikhuluma noMavela Mabuza ukubongalela Mavela Mabuza ubahalela loyo. Bantu bokukhuluma noMavela Dlamini. Oh okay bekafudola lo hayi. You get that? Because from childhood, crash, Mavela Lot Dlamini. Primary school, Mavela Lot Dlamini. High school, Mavela Lot Dlamini. I think just born when 2014 to 15. Also because of, I'm not related to about Dlamini. Why should I keep that surname? Here's what is interesting. Now, you see this thing, you find good. Ungazuzithola ama-relative engasawakho. Yabo. Uyakhula indlwana, like I said, ngibeka indlwana esitolo ngizithathele ichair. Ichair zakaDlamini ngizishiyele, ngoba ngithi zasedladleni. Ezakashabalala ngizishiyele. Which was wrong. You see? But angiyazi mina loo nto leyo. You just tell yourself ukuthi hayi lo ngiwasishiyarisa name kusho ukuthi wakithi. One, I'm not related, nothing. Nabantu bakwaDlamini. So that's what happened with this surname. My mom is like, noshijana nalesiboko kuthiwa kubuyela kaShabalala asisuka kugugile kuyafa manje and uzobhala ukuthi wakaShabalala. And truly all the tombstones afakwe yimi abantu basekhaya ngibabhale ngoShabalala, which is the correct thing. But I tell kids ukuthi if nibafuna ngalesibongo sakaDlamini. I want to come there. So this was a little bit puzzling for me. People will be like, hey, Shabalala, hey, Shabalala. And be like, Dlamini. The man was never called Dlamini, Bekuba Shabalala, kwaphela. Ngasekhaya abantu bebazi kwaShabalala lapha, kwaphela. Never was kaDlamini. kaDlamini was 2 houses from my place. So you see, the whole community knows ukuthi kaShabalala, but officials know ukuthi kaDlamini. So people had to survive that. So apartheid had so much reach that it messed up families for life. So just at the end of it, because she was this type of person who holds things. Yatata. Uthe masabhizi sibheka ama-document wanwathi. Ipasi lakamkhulu, and I think manele ngilifuna le pass because I need to have a photo of it. So masiloku usibhizi kuyasibheka ngani mara le pass leli man khona wrong ngalo. And when I did that, just to move, suke yale ihloko kamkhulu wami ngavela umnikazi wepasi. I, as an adult then, I think umamncane wami ushone in 2013, 2014, somewhere there. That's when I saw the good man. So the 10-1A was there. Niggas, the rightful owner, is there. Very hectic. People had to go through a lot. Ukuze bakwazi ukuthi sibe la sikhona. Yabo. So kaShabalala namhlanje people will tell you kabobani la kaMavela kwabani kaShabalala. But also people, you know, namanye abantu abadala basile, I think they used to think, mabetshela abantwana babo ukuthi no, uMavela uDlamini, then probably they'll then tell them ukuthi no, ukuthi uMavela umamakhe wabuya naye eSwazini or whatever, kusho ukuthi ubabakhe uDlamini. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. Bazama ukuhlanganisa lento kuyashabalala lapha. So le why uDlamini, yabo. They did not know ukuthi amapasa lapha abhala uDlamini. Kwa mina this thing birth certificate yami ngibhalwe Dlamini. Permitting ngibhalwe Dlamini. Remember ukuthi the way struggle besingakhona, and in the 80s apartheid system was very brutal. Starting around 83, 84, 85, 85, in fact it was the height of the brutal nature apartheid becoming visible, because apartheid has always been brutal. You know, we laugh with white people. They talk, and a lot of them, no, not a lot of them, the few that still have consciousness, are embarrassed even to discuss this thing, because this was done in their name. And a lot of them, once they had umama or umkhulu osebenzayo ejardini lapho, bazi ukuthi akufanelanga alale lapho, and the money abambhadala yona is a pittance. So they gained out of apartheid. The reason why we're still divided today, it's because of that privileged societal norm that they now say it was normal. Which is an insult to black people anyway. So I understand it's system apartheid the way being a corner, it sort of then also on its own conscientized people, made people aware of the problems that are there. Abantu never settled to accept no apartheid, there's nothing we can do. They never accepted that. They never accepted that. These organizations in UDF, it was so that it can be streamlined, it can be orderly, it can have a direction, it can have a philosophy that it follows, it can have some form of a doctrine. So those were the things. So the way the system was brutal, you know, people started getting into the struggling droves. Some were also realizing, man, if we join in, definitely something would happen. And this, remember, the gaining of independence by Zimbabwe in 1980. It involved us. Gaining of independence by Mozambique and Angola. It involved us. Yes, I'm going to try to go fihla. But I mean, the elderly were there. They're here. There will be foreigners that are here who still talk to those at home, who still talk proudly of the fight that happens in their own homelands. So in a way, it was a struggle for the whole continent against colonialism, but also it influenced us to understand our own type of colonialism, because the other countries were colonized from outside. We had a special type of colonialism whereby the oppressor and the oppressed were in the same country. Swar Khafar, Amapulu, it became a term. Yokuthi Amapulu athusa abelungu ngabantu abamnyama. Terrorist, I'm a terrorist. Every other second thing was a terrorist. I just told you the story. I was charged with terrorism. At the time, they had not even, I think I did not even qualify to be charged with terrorism, because they couldn't prove that I was a terrorist, if I can call it that. Because even their own magistrate said, you can't prove that this guy is a terrorist. You became a terrorist, you became a terrorist according to the narrative Yamabunu. Anybody against the system of apartheid, we terrorist. And when we go back and look at the meaning of terrorist, is a person who terrorizes people in general. The simplest meaning I can tell, you know? But there's a deeper meaning to it. You know? All right, the first time, you know, I don't know whether I'll call this ukbosh or what. I remember there was the running around after the belling of Kosas. Sabami moto ye coke olalo high. Angazi ngeke steringile kufulati. Because I couldn't drive at the time. But somehow bathe abanye mabebaleka. Lamapuna athi mayifika angithola. Abangigijimisanga for a long time. Bengakwazi nokubaleka. Anyway. So bangibamba. But because of kubhizi la. Bangifaka kwenye imoto la ngasemuva. I think nasithombe sa ivideo yaleyo moto la. When I first got into the defense force, ngayikhoma ngena ngathi bake bangifaka la kule basket. So bangifaka la. But because kubhizi, I think bebangayivalanga kahle, yabo. Ngisaba ukuphuma, yabo. So bathe mabegijimisa abantu towards esilelekele. Ivuleke le nto lokhu. Mangithi ngiyabheka. Angisezwe abantu abakhulumayo, yabo. Ngiphume ngibaleke nami. Ngisine kanjani, yabo. But not after the kicking and the beating and the insults in Afrikaans, yabo. In such a manner that I will tell you a story. One poor boy, angibonisa le itulo abahlala kuso besimnyama, yabo. Uthi yabo ukuthi ngihlala lena ngihlala kuyo imnyama. My boss PW board uthi ngihlale kulena emnyama so that I can alternate of the conflict for set, so that I can always sit on the black man's head. So a lot of people had their own experiences and all of that, but this was my experience. So that's how these things happened around 1985, and all of that. But also around this time, I mean, now it's not only the political consciousness that is driving you, but also it's the involvement in these particular things. So you are able then to understand. And the recruitment drive to joining MK was quite high at the time. Okay. Yeah, it was very high. It was risky, but I mean, we were waging a struggle for Aman versus South Africa. And Aman versus South Africa wants to see action that Umkhondo Wesizwe was established to give an answer to the humiliation yabantu bethu, because it was to re-establish a dignity. Whenever Mandela planned into kuba ukuthi kube khona i-armed resistance, and the idea yomkhondo wesizwe came, it was so that amabhunu can be answered in violence. Just that bona violence yabo be soft, yabo. And when we came Tina go MK, even those that were there before were mostly to attack maybe installations and all of that, yabo. But with the influx of the younger generation who had seen the violence of Amabhunu, bebangafuni ukuboshwa. Even mitana namabhunu nyalo. You see, very rarely, because of the numbers, Amabhunu would always win if nyalo. I mean, we are a unit of 3 or 4 people. Amabhunu kuzama imoto ezi-100. Amabhunu kuzokulanda la kini uyi-1. If imoto ziko 15, they don't feel safe. So cabanga imoto eziyi-15 nabo driver bayi-15 uyi-1. And zonke le moto zina 324. What does it tell? So a contingent of over 50 can come for you uyi-1. It was hectic. Mamela amabhunu ashaya. Amabhunu bangadlali bakushaya. And i-1 ebuhlungu amabhunu bethu noma kushaya, bona azokushaya kubuza imibuzo, cajole you in a way. But labotaki, especially baseputazwane, they'll kill you, those people. Well, in my experience, I was a Putatswana. I don't know whether you know something called Putatswana. And those were the Bantu stands, and that was one Bantu stand that even today, if we can be honest, even today, people who are populating in Daozabubu Putatswana are still not very happy about the incorporation of Bophuthatswana into South Africa. They're not. I think that was one Bantu stand that provided for them a semblance of freedom. Mangope gave them space to build and gave them quite big spaces. I mean, you miss such. They paid, I think, a pittance because the South African taxpayer, white taxpayer, black taxpayer took care of them. Bantu stands had no means to produce something big to even run the country. And Bophuthatswana was worse because, you know, your Ciskei and Transkei, you could say Naba. Your Kazankulu Naba, all these Bantu stands, KZN. Bophuthatswana was here, South Africa here. They did not have that much big army. But also, that was one of the most brutal of police and army within the Bantu stands. They were brutal. And a lot of people were Bashali Hillbro. I'm activist, I'm a Hillbro. A lot of people were Bashali Hillbro. If you can do a follow-up of a lot of the people that are in parliament today, most of them were Bashali Hillbro. Because Hillbro was a white suburb, but with a lot of blacks. And also the moral degeneration started a Hillbro. So our comrade Balinda. So one thing you want to call him comrade to Chris Shem. May his soul rest in peace. You want to Chris. Nhlangana na lama askari training now. Like wabone kala. Hey, you see, I'm askari abanye watu. Ngazi ukuthi amaskari because of they had testified a case in him. And we had won the case. And amaskari, my understanding, mangbabona. And also I think the TRC verifies this. They were a marauding group of Impimpi that would kill. If they cannot arrest you, they'll kill you. And these were former combatants, people you trained with. The ANC had been well established outside the country to be able to wage war in South Africa. It was recognized as the people's representatives of South Africa against the system of apartheid. That's the ANC and the PAC, I think, to a larger extent. Then basically, how does one get to work and convince the people? We were lucky in the ANC in that we had a very committed old man, O.R. Tambo. He was an excellent old man in that even when the ANC Yapuga, he was capable of bringing it back. That generation, Yalababu Baba, it is something that I remember this was said by somebody, I'm not sure whether I digress, but it's fine. Was said by somebody, Sboshiwe Botswana. Would you know if I could, comrade Dunaledi or was an alien in Vexim Naledi, because I thought was a Midlands. What he means like Kepulimniaga Engnang in Gulungulemiaga Engna, look Kepulelu Oliver Tambe Miniaga, so that us Pilelemo. You see, that's how we believed in the leadership of that man. I mean, that's amongst that generation yabo, a lot of them could have been maybe much more powerful than Richard Maponya. They could have been more powerful than any other businessman of the time if they were given an opportunity, a correct and equal. Even if it was not correct and equal, they could have been even much better, even with the system of apartheid, because one, they had the advantage of being learned. They were mostly educated. Oliver Tambo was a lawyer by profession. In fact, Namufundi Ngwati, from a very young age, he was very intelligent. But those were the people that inspired abanye abantu abanjengati. Ukuthi if le time lengadela yonke into, who am I ukuthi ngadeli whatever life now ngoba even if ngayi kwi-struggle amabhunu asazongibulala for nothing. I mean, Hector Peterson ufile, he was just running, angazi nokuthi ugijima uyaphi, he was a child. How many other children died like Hector Peterson that are not counted or spoken of? So in the and understanding I'm struggling because of we are involved in the struggle. So you know good there's ANC outside. You know good there's MK that is waging war against the system of apartheid. There's izinto ezikhuthaza abantu la ekhaya eSouth Africa, like your attacks zase-Fort Trekker, your attacks eSasol 1 and 2 yabona nyale, and every time, especially around the 80s, I think iviki inyanga bengapheli ungazange kube le shootout yabona nyale eguerrilla dublekile endaweni. So there's the Lion of Shawela, there's the stories of Solomon Mahlangu. You know, the inspiration was there. Yes, the people were dying, but also remember Guti, these were our peers. So if bona abasabu kufa fighting for their own country, who am I Guti ngisabu kufa fighting for my country? So it was something of that nature. And then two, at a personal level, again, as after the banning, of course, as you know, you run around. I was recruited to MK. It is a story that is gonna be part a documentary that I'm doing. But just in short, I was recruited by somebody that I'd taken njengendwana. He recruited me. Good man, Mavela man. We need to talk. Then he introduces me to the guys who speak. Then the guys, you know, not recruiting, but just telling me about MK, ANC, and all of that. You know, at the time, I'm not sure, but because now these guys keep AK, keep Makarov, keep a grenade, you know. These are the things I was born on TV, here they are right in front of your eyes. You don't need convincing much because you are involved in the struggle. At the time, or anything. And my issue was, this is good to train in the country, fight in the country, and die in the country. That's it. But it was not to be like that. So they trained me, these guys, and we started as a small group because there was this guy who do me, then there's me. And we needed to have a unit in Atihlakanpil. And I went on and I recruited a friend of mine, Upegi Meza, who was not political at the time. The reason is he's my best friend. But amongst all the best friends, whenever you discuss with him, I think me and him had the same type of principles. And this is what to these meetings, us, what. He's just excited to he's there. He was just being excited to say, because every other time the June 16 commemoration, Regina Mundi would go there and they would be amongst those stone throwers. This is la Bishop Tutu would be like, what, that is Vume. Magpunya were the first ones to throw stones. So I think he enjoyed that. But also he had I think we had a certain affinity between me and him, because immediately after that recruitment, we became trouble. There were municipal police at the time, which we used to call amajekete. And there was also what they called kids constables. Now, you may not know what kids constable is. Kids in Afrikaans quick, but constable, it's the first line of rank for police even today. So these kids constables, I can't remember. They were either trained for a week or 2 weeks, somewhere there. So they were just there, and they were poorly trained. Shame, may their souls rest in peace. They were poorly trained. And we used to, if there's 2 or 3, some would be shot, some bahab. And around that time also there was the municipal police, JMPD. See, this JMPD comes from what we used to call amajekete. Because remember, these houses were rental houses from the city of Johannesburg.
Oh, yeah?
Nobody owned these houses. They were rent. So if you miss maybe a month or 2 then they'll come, they'll kick down the doors or whatever. If visitor mangekho kule permit yokuthi la ngene emotweni nayo yahamba, umnikazi uye ofisini, fanele afika abhadale ofisini. And the rent was my recollection of a rent nabuqokasambe, because kokwami ubengafuni ukuyimesa rent. I would go to ofisini mangiqala ukubhadala rent, I think it was 480 or 460. Futhi, I think around the time bese bayikhuphulile. But I would walk from ekhaya ngiyobhadala rent ephumlo. You see la kaGabu, mawula kaGabu kunalesiganga abapheka kuso la.
Yes.
There I used to bhadala rent lapho, being an office lapha. In fact, emzimhlophe bekunenduna yara ubaba uHlongwane or ubaba uMhlongo, no ubaba uHlongwane. He was known. Those people were by shameful. Abo baba base hostel mabengena permit babathatha. That's how the apartheid system. In fact, it was, the townships were prisons that people chose to stay in because they had no alternative. Open prisons, yes. That's where all townships, I think, started, because it was to provide labor for amafema belungu. They wanted labor like those. So you get involved into the struggle. So we started then. There were councillors, because councillors were boycotted. The whole administration of Amabunu was crumbling because of a resistance. They were there just to help enforce the administration of the white person. It was just an extension after Amabantu stand. Then bona supposedly bazo enforcer the laws Amabantu stand in township, but using maybe the rules and the laws of the city of Johannesburg as decided by white ratepayers of Johannesburg. And when mina nabangani bami uBheki noTumi then started, we started attacking councillors' houses with a grenade. AM is very interesting. AM. Very, very interesting. We did that. Then around 1987, No. I went, 1987. Kuno commander ebekufanele afike. Then we bought a car using one of our brothers, Alo Comrade, Obegang Trainee. We were part of that unit. We would sit nje and be quiet maybe a month or two, just so that it wouldn't have been a hurry as in. But now getting involved, recruiting other people and all of that. So we're supposed to fetch that. It's not on that TRC thing, this thing I'm going to on. I think it's 6, if not 7. That's how they put it. We archives and boys. When we were coming through, we picked this guy up from Rustenburg. And we were coming through, Sihlele Venini, movie 1400. There was 2 of us, a movie Venini, 1400. There were 2 of them, quite abadala. Our commander, Umunare, Begamtala. Like this is Landela Krutman. Gube le moto silandelayo. Una le moto. I'm not sure. I cannot say Umunare panicked or what. I cannot say that. But he started getting concerned. My son Dela say Tubula. Oh, sharp, Skogamakan, sharp. The only problem was one. We had pistols and a scorpion. I think there were 2, if not 3 scorpions. So he's the one who knows a lot of other things because the scorpion at the time, but iti mai sondela le ntwana ebhuni iti mayehla isakhwela phezukwayo. Le S2 yakwazi ukuzijafa, but we shot him also. So the driver died. So Le Grootman drove into what was then called township. Jumped, parked on somebody else's houses, and now because the Nola say busy back up. You see, now the town is busy manje la kule lokishi. Yabo. Njengoba ku busy ke la kule lokishi with the shootout and everything. Angazi noma bese adubulekile or not Munare. But I remember Magati Puma. Somebody has to run away here. He then, when I looked at him, he shot himself. Umdise, I don't know how was he shot. But we managed to get no driver. And I was lucky because ngihamba no driver, ngihamba nomdala who knows the way and all of that. So I survived that shootout. So Grootman, I think we arrived 2 days after in Soweto. This thing is all over the news. So I joined up with another unit. They then organized to join up with another unit. Itama lakabani lakatum no, sitama lakatum la organize anything. Asitama lakatum la organize operative. Usema organize a connection with other people no win. Oh, Mamuini, how I remember Mamuini. Si join a unit Yagatisco Matrosov, one of the biggest units of MK ever established inside the country. Then Utisco angmaza at the time, but ngihlangane with ikomisa yakhe umshoshovi. And then as you know, interview him, Dumi, Ubegi. Interview and our training and everything, and he found that we were extensively trained inside the country. Then he decides, you know what? Story sakho time awasazi kahle. Angithumele ngaphandle. That's when I met Oliver Tambo in the presence of Thabo Mbeki, in the presence of Comrade Tom Sibina, in the presence of Henry Makoti, in the presence of Untate Mashiko. Those are stalwarts, the ANC. I'm going to tell you something that people don't know or people don't want to believe. And I cannot say we were the first. I cannot say we were the first. But when I left the country, we left through what was then Jan Smuts Airport on a Zambian Airways flight to Zambia, Lusaka. Flew directly. We were testing the route. So I don't know who were the first ones or who was following other people that had left using that route before it was discovered by Mapun Guteman. So we would live like that. And after that, I was sent to Angola where I trained in Ibango. I was supposed to stay there for about 2 weeks. I think I stayed there for 6 months. No, that would happen with ANC. Yeah. So, give an aeroplane without ticket. It was normal. I can't even say bring a ticket when I flew to Angola. Because from Zambia, we flew to Angola. Because after that training, when I came back to Zambia, I was then briefed by Comrade Chris. Yeah, by Chris. Then I flew, did not fly. Then I went through the Zambezi to Botswana. Hectic, eh? No, I'm making a mistake. I flew to Botswana the first time. Zambia, Botswana. And got arrested in Botswana. Stayed a maximum in Botswana, I think, for 2, if not 3 weeks. I remember when we started the story, I spoke about una lady. Bekunalady nobani imandazi igama laRhulumani angazi ngilikhumbula makunjani, but I will remember. I'll give you the name. They were waiting for some people Soweto Airport. So when I got off, umuntu bekufanele azongimita uThenjiwe Mtinso was not there. So somehow, I don't know, but they saw me ukuthi so they called me over ngaya, and they asked, and then I'm not sure, but what had happened must figure Soweto Airport. I went in, we may not know each other, but we are pick up Liz. Mangifaka passport yami ngihamba ngepassport yase Transkei. Lo mntana uyayibheka uyayistamp ngiyadlula. Kuze I think omunye besihamba naye. Lo ongabe umntwana athi uyayibheka athi ki passport yawukayi. Yabo? Mayibuza ukuthi ki passport yawukayi kusho ukuthi owesithu ungene la mina ngidlule khona. Yabo? Athi lo mntana akiyitsibi kuyawukayi ingothi Transkei. Yabo? Atai lo atai na kitsibi kitsawukayi di passport tse ngasithi stamp. Yabo? Speed ngiphume ngaso lapha. Angazi ngagijima kanje. Was out of there, so I think Sapuma C2. We're the ones that then explained, and we had to go to Sugera. Sugera baya, so kufuneke Comrade Mtinso, which was the person that I was supposed then to get my last briefing before ngene country. So bangithathe banglalisa somewhere, some launching, lalela. I think for a day or 2, and then babuye bazongilanda. But then sibuyele next to the airport. Masibuyela next to the airport. I don't know what happened, whether these guys were searching or what. Hey, look, sikula maphoyisa seBotswana. Una lady bamazi. Good hayi ne. Athi sesiboshiwe ngibaleka. Abarephamu labantu.
Labaphoyisa.
Yeah. Angimemeza unalele man buya uyapi. Marena sakabaleke kaningi but then masicoca ukuthi wabo ngibiza daye awuyazi Botswana. Bebazokubamba after some period of time or uthengiswe yiba Botswana bakubophe, yabo. So I just had to save you. So again, ngibe la. Now, this time what happened? Ngahambe kusho ukuthi after siboshiwe sithe masibuya ngakhwela phezu kweZambezi. Zambezi to Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe to Botswana, Botswana to inside the country. Siqhubeka my operation, recruit new people, go through with the very same things that were happening. Yabo, kube khona into enidi yoku reinforce unit, yabo. So makufanele reinforce unit, had to go back because communication is difficult, very, very difficult communication at the time. Then had to go back eBotswana, fike ngihlale lapha ngipick up omunye umuntu okhuluma isiBhunu siyalwana namhlanje over that. Sharp sithi masira ngibonana nonaledi ngokhe nabantu abaya eZambia. I don't know for what. Why did they want me to go to Zambia? I went to Zambia. Ngafike ngathola mangisasela eBotswana. Yeah. Mangisasela eBotswana. Chris was in Botswana at the time. Chris Han. Afike ngimguy brief of what is happening, but also angithethise ukuthi you are a trained personnel. You travel all the way from Johannesburg to Botswana. It's a risk. So travel from here to a.k.a. It's a risk. So you see, Maboshwa, we lose a resource. And if you are Botswana, sizokunikeza 2,000 rand. Why is the ekhaya? Puppies. So what are we supposed to do? Adigimu research, I need to think. Abotsotsi basebenza ekhaya ningayuza abotsotsi kahle, but you need to think. Siqalele phansi futhi. So ngiyolanda uThulane eZambia. Sijump iZambezi ku2 for me. First time for uThulane. Sibuye. That's how it happened. And my high state kali lapho because masibuya noThulane sesaboshwa. We got into a roadblock that was set up for us for 3 days prior to our arrival because Mama spoke about because it's not 3 days in Mel. It's the second day namhlanje. If beningafike kusasa benganistole. And they knew exactly how we look like. But quite interestingly, mina bebangimesile because bangikhuthuzile ngabuyela eTexini. Thulane mabemkhuthuza, I don't know what he did or ubushekile or what, I don't know. But then they had to start afresh, and when lentwana mayikhuluma nami pick up ukuthi 2 isitswana sami, it's just not on. Were taken out. Sabesiboshiwe kanjalo. And the guy that was accompanying us across the border then went back to the taxi. He left. That's where ngamgcina khona. And immediately we're blindfolded, put into the truck. Yamasocha seBotswana, Botswana, to wherever labasibhekisa khona. I don't know where it was. When masifika lapha we take. I don't know whether Thulane they did the same, but mina I was stripped naked, so. But I want to believe good no Thulane by mom stripped naked. I think we took with the running, yabo, administratively or whatever. You know, bakubuza question bahamba wona. But after about 30 minutes to 40 minutes or in between that, or it was long for me, and all of that, I don't know. But when they came back, yes. But yeah, man, sazile ukuthi wongalunganga uyiclever nemali iphethe uwe. Why are you not saying ni 3? Ngathi mina ningibuza. Yo. The beating, because you couldn't now say asikho i-3. They coming with a confirmation. Ukuthi wawungasitshela ukuthi ni-3. So kusho ukuthi umunye sekakhulumile ukuthi asikho i-2 si-3. That's how it happened. Kobe ziyaduma. Yeah, mara mina mangidubuleka 1990. Yeah, 1990. Will that coin security robbery? It's another long story, that one. I don't know whether sazoyiqeda namhlanje or not.
Nah.
Because asikangangeni ku fight IFP. Because the fight IFP and all the other things also involves that robbery coin. A robbery coin was not the only one. There were other robberies. But I put in a robbery coin on that application at TRC because it was official ukuthi ngiboshiwe because I was shot there. You know, the bashing of EMK and ANC in particular by BCM has made it a point ukuthi history was distorted. Because if singaba honest, you know, kunalawo Jacob Zuma explains this thing khona. I don't know whether they were negotiating or what was happening, but I remember the story from some clip I once saw whereby he says in this whole thing, when people said, hey, ungakhuluma nobani Mabunu said, look at who's getting arrested. Look at who is getting killed. Look at who is active. Every other time, Bob abantu MK. So abantu aba dangerous MK, not PAC. We show adversaries. So this is where the truth then comes out. I've sat here. I've not bashed them. I've not said anything about them. But whenever members of EPAC get an opportunity to speak about their struggle, the first thing they take is ANC, as if their fight was about fighting ANC. It was a difference of opinion and principle that created the PAC. The mission was one, the liberation of South Africa. Whether Azania as they want it to be, or whether South Africa as it has been. That's the only difference. We were all prepared to make the contribution against the apartheid system in such a manner that when we were in prison, I can have thousands of witnesses, including a person who's their leader today. When we were arrested, there was Ucheki as supposedly a member of the high command of the PAC I'm doing inside the country. And then there was another 2 guys, one was from Durban, one was from the Eastern Cape. And we used to have political discussions because as supposedly terrorists were staying in the same cell. So Amapu never differentiated today when we PAC, when we MK. But what they then did was those arrested for terrorism, Papa kept in the same cell. Yeah, after Siphume solitary confinement and all of that, now we're attending court. I remember it involved high treason. There was also a case about Paul Mashatile, which was high treason. There was also a case about Paul Mashatile and Abu Mavela, they were not in the same case, I think. I can't remember. But there was also a case of Moses Mayegiso, a very senior trade unionist. It was also high treason. So there were two high treason cases from Alexander. One led by one group. The first accused was Paul Mashatile. One group, the first accused was Moses Mayegiso, Richard Mtagane, Obed Mavela. I can't remember number one. And then the case yabo Paul Mashatile, who were generally in Dangazetu. We were there in Sun City. In fact, we were troublesome there in Sun City, but shower nearly every week. Yeah, I mean, angimkhulumela Paul Mashatile. Into ayenzile. And remember ukuthi having a case being charged by a high treason, that is to overthrow the state. And during the apartheid times, you could get a sentence of hanging. It was after there's in the bizwa a 6-day war yase Alexander. Paul Mashatile was charged for that.